everyone, my name is Lena and this is Library of Diamonds, and in today's video I am bringing to you a pose review of Mabon. Now I don't know how it is pronounced exactly. I don't know if it is Mabon or Mabon. I've heard it both ways, but I don't know, I'm pronouncing it as Mabon. So this one is in rounds. This was my, I think, if I'm not mistaken, my first round in a while, because I, like, the majority of my kits, of the kits that I do, are in squares, like most of them. So this one I got for drills and chills because originally I wanted to do like exclusively kit, like event related kits, but then I decided that just move with the flow. Oh, a drill fell off. Uh-oh. Well, this is something that I'm actually going to be mentioning in this video. So this one was my third finish for the month of October. I finished number 39 of 2024 and my finish number 46 overall. I spent a total amount of time of 30 hours and 19 minutes from placing the drill, like the first drill, to placing the last drill. This one had a total amount of 57,772 drills, and it has 5 special drills, 1 AB, 1 electro, and 3 fairy dust, and we're going to go over all of them in a minute. This one I started on September 22nd and finished it on September 23rd, and I am starting to use this little thing here. I just write down if I am working currently in any events, and this one was for this event in particular. Now, I could have finished this a day earlier and make it just like within a month, but you know, life happens. I started a new job and that slowed me down in my kits quite a lot. Like, I finished this, and just this morning I finished another kit, and I thought, like, when I was in the middle of this and the one that I just finished, I thought I was going to be able to finish more kits during the month, but as I said, new job, a lot of new time put into, of course, my job, so it's not going to be that, but it's fine. That way my stash, Smalley stash, lasts longer. But let's go dive into this kit. Now, as I already said, this kit is in rounds, and the size of this is 55.6 centimeters in width and 78.7 centimeters like tall in length. I usually see that diamond art clubs are pretty true to size regarding that, so it was absolutely that. This is more, for me at least, kind of like a medium size. I would consider like a very doable, manageable size, because I don't really mind working on either too small or too big or any type of size of diamond paintings. So far, this is not the largest one that I've done, but as I said, the first one in rounds that I've done in a while. This one I started doing for a challenge video that I have up in my channel that I'm gonna link down below, of course. Like, I usually link down below a lot of videos, but let's go into it. So this was a very interesting combination between color blocking and confetti. I started here at the top part in that video specifically that I'm telling you about, that it was a challenge video. So the first section that I did was pretty big. It was kind of like in the middle of her eye up until the middle of her face, like this upper quadrant of her face, all the way up and all the way to the edge. So it was interesting to see a lot of, for example, color blocking in these areas, or in these areas that are not specifically color blocking, but you know, there are not many colors in an area. And then moving into this side of her face, like the face is fine, you know, but these flowers, oh my god, so much confetti. Then we move a little bit downwards, and there is still a little bit of confetti in certain parts, like in these parts, but the rest of it really wasn't. There was a lot of shading, as you can see, in the leaves, and that is kind of like the most amount of changes in a drill that I could find. And also in some of these little specks over here, in like just some details of thingies floating and flying around. And that's pretty much it. I started on the top. I usually start at the bottom left and move upwards, but for this one, as I said, I was working on a challenge and I decided to start from the top. So this one has been the very first, I think, I don't know if in a very long time, or like in all my time of diamond painting, where I actually started diamond painting from the top down. But yeah, no, I think I've done another one, like Once Upon a December, the one with Anastasia by Mandy Manzano. I know that I started that at the top as well. What else did I start at the top? I don't remember, but most of them I start at the bottom. Now, what I loved most about this canvas, like the details that I liked the most, were her hair. Just all of these strands of reds and oranges and this little pretty fairy dust that I'm gonna be closing you up in a little bit. I just loved all that is like her face, her hair, and the crown of flowers over here. I just loved and adored. And usually I love the rendering on Diamond Art Club, and in this case, for this top section, I really, really loved. Well, no, not the rendering I'm talking about. I am the rendering of all the piece I liked. What I was meaning to say is the color palette here was fantastic. One of the things that I did not like, and it's been kind of like the very first time that I've seen this with any of my Diamond Art Club kits, is kind of like the color selection for her dress. If I look it through a photo that I took with my phone, the colors transition from one color to the next, and it looks smoother, a bit smoother than this. But when you're seeing it in person, I don't really like the transition of colors between the different areas of the dress. That's something that I honestly was a bit disappointed in, because I think that they could have used a lot of different other colors in order to make this transition smoother, and maybe even I don't know. I am not an artist that does the rendering for the colors, and I also can acknowledge that kind of turning the colors in a screen, or like in a regular, or well, not regular, more like a classic art form like in paper, is different from transcribing that to DMC colors. However, I've seen that, at least in the kits that I've done personally, they always work perfectly with the face and the shadings, you know, and I believe that could be a bit more trickier than, you know, a dress. But in my opinion, the transitions between, you know, here we have some very stark, I can think we can see it here. Let me see if I can close up a little bit here. Like over here we have like the middle section with the black, and then we transition to a brown, which is okay, but then we transition to a dark blue, and yes, it is a dark blue, but I don't think it's dark enough to transition smoothly from these colors on top. And then we go into a dark gray, into a less dark gray, into a very dark sort of teal color, and then into another type of blue. I don't know, I just didn't like the transition of these colors. Again, I am not an expert. I don't know anything about, you know, choosing colors or anything. I'm not an artist. I just like to do the craft. But once I started to look at it from afar, you know how when you're really, really close down on the painting, you kind of, well, at least for me, I kind of lose the sense of what I'm actually working on. And is once I step out of the painting, like take a few steps back, is when I see how it's actually turning out. And with this one in particular, that was a very stark thing that I didn't like when I did that with this kit. Because close up, I was like, okay, I kind of like forgot what the image was supposed to look like. But then I stepped back and I didn't like the transition of the colors. And as I say, I think that in pictures, it looks a bit better than it does in person. But this transition overall, I think it would be the first time where I can say that I am disappointed in Diamond Art Club in this kit. Other thing that I'm kind of disappointed in Diamond Art Club with this kit is that I don't know why I didn't take pictures, but there's a few pictures out there of some symbols, specifically one symbol, and I'm gonna show you the container of that symbol in a bit, that goes mostly into the leaves over here. Like one of these colors, the printing on the canvas was pretty much invisible. The only knew that I kind of could guess which color it was because it was like in the same realm of colors that I had already used for the transition, and there was still one color left to place, and that was the only color left out that I could see that could look good in the transition. And I don't know, those were two things that I never had encountered before with Diamond Art Club: the transition of the colors and the printing on the canvas. I've seen that some people received, I think, some sort of discount or something like that. I reached out to them, but I really didn't get an answer to my questions and to my issue regarding the printing of the canvas. So that is also unusual. That's why it is really weird for me. Like, I didn't have the best experience with this diamond painting overall. Like, once it's finished, once I step back, I like it and I appreciate it for what it is, and I still hold very true to my word that I loved certain aspects of it. You know, the details in her face, in the crown, overall her hair was my favorite part. But at the same time, I am left with this sort of slightly bittersweet taste of, it was not my best experience with Diamond Art Club, and I am a bit disappointed. Now let's go on with the colors. First of all, I want to show you the color that was kind of misprinted in the canvas, and it was this one, like the symbol. And as you can see, like when I was placing the drills in the leaves, most of the leaves were, let me take out some more colors of these. Like, you can see how all of these colors go into the leaves, and whenever I placed all of this was the only one left that I had not placed, and that was like in one of the sections where I was like, okay, this is kind of the only one that makes sense actually. So that's the way I was able to place this. And at the top, those symbols that were still blurry were still kind of visible, so I struggled a little bit less in the top than in the bottoms in the leaves. Now, as for leftover drills, I had, again, another thing that had never happened to me before. I know that there's people who struggle, and while they do their diamond painting, they are afraid of running out of a few colors. And that happened to me with one of the colors, and that is this one. Like, I don't know how many drills are here, like 15 or something like that. But whenever I see that I'm running out of a color, I pretty much go like, oh, it's fine. Like, I know that I'm not going to use it in any other place. But when I was placing this color in the last section, the section where I had to place it was actually not as small as, you know, in comparison, the amount of drills that I had left and the amount of drills that I thought I was going to be placing in the canvas, I honestly thought I was going to run out, and I nearly did. And talking with some friends, they also told me that they had run out of a few drills, not only one, but a few. So that is something that, again, is incredibly rare. And I don't know, another thing that kind of puts a little bit less points into the overall, I mean, if I graded or if I gave points to my canvases, that would be less points in that area. Another thing that I noticed and that I kind of mentioned at the beginning was, did you remember that I mentioned one drill popping off? Well, there are different sections that if I place, like if I run my hand in a certain way, I can feel like right here, a drill popped off. And I didn't do anything harsh. I just, you know, I don't know. And that had never, again, that had never, ever happened to me with Diamond Art Club. With other companies, with budget companies, yes, never with Diamond Art Club. And another point that decreases my enjoyment of this kit. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing, to be honest. So now let's go with the rest of the drills, because I had forgotten to tell you about these other things, but now let's go over to the drills. This canvas had in total 5 special drills. I'm gonna start with the most like common and well-known of them all, and that is our AB. This is kind of like an orangey sort of AB, and that one we can find in some details here in a crown of flowers, and also in some of the leaves that she's holding here in her hands. The next one is going to be the fairy dust drills. The first one would be this kind of white grayish type of color, and this one was pretty much all these white looking thing right here in the moon. That's pretty much all of this drill. And is it also in her eyes? Yes, over here in her eyes you can also find it. The next one would be this color. This is a very light orangey, and this orange we could find it this is also a fairy dust in some like details here in these flowers on here, and in this kind of like lighter strands of hair that we can see right here in this part. And then we have this blue one, which I don't remember where this was because it was not placed many places, but it was mostly like in these little details in blue here in her crown of flowers. And the last one, but again, not least, these I think they're called electro diamonds, the ones that are kind of like metallic, and we can see this one in her symbol in her face. Now, to disclose something, I don't really know what the symbol means, but it's a nice detail, and it really was fantastic for us to see that this one was with these special drills. And right over here, I'm gonna be inserting a few pictures. No. And right over here, I'm gonna be inserting a picture of the finished canvas. And overall, I am really sad to say that this was the kind of very first Diamond Art Club that I was kind of that I was disappointed in, because, you know, I can definitely forgive when there's aspects that don't turn out great. It has to happen sometime, like sooner or later. But whenever that happens, it's usually like one aspect of it. Let's say the glue, or let's say just printing, or let's say, you know, other things. But it's just usually just one thing that I don't love and I'm not raving about. But with this kit in particular, it was several things. And when you put one on top of the other, it just diminishes the overall excitement and overall enjoyment of the craft. And yeah, in a few words, this kit disappointed me because of that. Even with all of the things that I really loved about the diamond painting, overall, I would say that this has been one of my least enjoyable kits to work on from Diamond Art Club. And again, that is sad. However, if you want to, you know, my kit might have been a fluke. My kit might have been, I don't know, it might also have to do something with myself. So even though my review is not going to be entirely positive, and it has some areas where it could be vastly improved for future diamond paintings, I also want to acknowledge that this is the very first time that this happens, and that I don't want to deter you from working on this kit if you have it on your stash. Right now it's discontinued, so it got discontinued pretty fast, so I'm not sure if any of these issues have been present enough in enough people for them to kind of recall it in a way and fix those things. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't work there. But yeah, I hope that you find my review useful. If you have it in your stash, or if you're working on it, or, you know, if you just wanted to see how this turned out. And for now, this was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if you've ever experienced like something like kind of really or overly negative, or you were just disappointed in a kit that you got, like from Diamond Art Club or from any other place really. It doesn't have to be, and I'm not trying to DAC, because obviously I liked their kits. Like most of my kits are from them. So yeah, please let me know down below. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day, and don't forget to keep on diamond painting. Bye bye.